What is going on, everybody? In this video, I'm going to be going through the 10 reasons why I think Ohio State could go back to back and win another national title. Ohio State is among the best teams in the country with very great odds to win this whole thing. So let's talk about why they can do it. Without further ado, let's get right into it. The 10th reason is because of their line of scrimmage play. Now, they have had concerns on the offensive line, but I do believe if they win a national title, the offensive line is going to play a factor. They will need to establish a more consistent run game with Bo Jackson. That means those offensive linemen need to step up, but that defensive line, it can cause havoc. They have some great edge defenders. As their defense played really well against Indiana, those edge defenders were getting to Mendoza a lot. There were questions how this defensive line would do with some great players leaving. That included Jack Sawyer, but a guy like Caden Curry has stepped up in a big way. He's had 60 tackles on the year and 11 sacks, one of the best players in the country, period. This defensive line has been very tough, and they have stepped up to replace the production of Jack Sawyer and JT last season. Kenyatta Jackson Jr. has stepped up in a big way, and these are seniors. These were second stringers last year. But Ohio State still had a veteran team that was left over from last year that were backups. A guy like Kenyatta Jackson Jr. stepped up with 6.5 sacks this season. And look, the offensive line has had its fair share of concerns, but Bo Jackson has ran for 1,000 yards. They have managed to open up the run game late this season with Jackson, and that offensive line is a big reason why Ohio State can win the national title. If they don't block Julian Sayin, they might not win it, but if they manage to pick it up and block Julian Sayin, then watch out because this offense can be very dangerous. If that offensive line had better pass protection against Indiana, they would have won that game because Sayin was being pressured all game. But it was also against one of the best pass rushers in the nation in Indiana. And I do think if Ohio State wins a national title, it's going to be a big reason because of the line of scrimmage play. They will have to step up because most of football is won at the line of scrimmage, definitely in today's era. And the ninth reason is because of Max Clear. I think this guy could be an X factor. Of course, you have Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, but the defensive focus is not going to be on Max Clear a lot. And he's one of the best tight ends in the nation. They haven't had to call his number a lot. But when he steps up in a big way for this team. When they lost Tate and Smith, Max Clear stepped up and had a big game for 100 receiving yards. And look, I don't think he got targeted enough against Indiana. He was targeted 20 times in his last 4 games, but only twice against Indiana. He's only had 2 touchdown catches this season, and I really think that Ohio State offense needs to get Max Clear more involved if they want to go on a national title run again. But I do think they will focus him more in the offense, and he definitely needs to play a factor. At number 8, it is because of the experience they have had against higher tier opponents. And I know everybody is going to bring up the schedule, look at who they played all year. But they have been in this situation before. Last year, they beat Tennessee, Oregon, Texas, and Notre Dame. They also managed to beat Michigan on the road and battled with Indiana. They also had the game against Texas. It's not like this team has been untested. This team has had experience against high tier opponents. They've been in the playoffs multiple times. Ryan Day had that big game against Georgia a few years back. And he's definitely been getting better and better as a head coach at winning these big games. And that's why they won it all last season. There's no reason they can't do it again. And when you have experience against high tier opponents, I do think it will help them. The playoff experience from last year could definitely help them this year. And the seventh reason is because of the efficiency of Julian Sayin. He's only a first year starter, but a super talented quarterback, and he does not make a lot of mistakes. He's thrown 6 interceptions, but hardly ever does he make mistakes. That's why he has a completion percentage of 78.4. He's thrown for 3,300 yards, and Julian Sayin will have to make smart plays in the playoffs if they want to win the national title. The 1 interception he had against Indiana didn't help the best, and they need to let Sayin work, and the offensive line needs to protect him because he is a talented quarterback. He has a great arm, and he's efficient. He gets the job done. You don't need the best quarterback in the country when you got this Ohio State team around you. The defense is elite. You got weapons at wide receiver. I think about J.J. McCarthy. I think about Stetson Bennett. These quarterbacks were not super talented, but they made the plays. They hardly turned the ball over. They were very efficient, and that is what Julian Sayin is. And he doesn't need to be an A-plus quarterback. He just needs to get the job done and make the right plays. And not be afraid to take some shots to Jeremiah Smith or Carnell Tate, because they will be facing some very good teams in this playoff run. But regardless, if this team wants to win a national title, Julian Sayin is definitely going to play a factor, and his efficiency is a great thing for this Ohio State team. At number 6, it's obviously because of the defensive dominance. Look at what they did last year defensively, leading them to a national title with that amazing defense. But they might even be even better this year. The lack of competition has helped their case, but they're allowing the least amount of points per game in all of college football. This defense is loaded with studs from top to bottom. Arvell Reese and Sony Styles is probably the best linebacker core in the country. Caleb Downs might be the best defensive player in all of college football. The cornerbacks are also very good. Their number one cornerback has cut back on defensive penalties a lot this season. And look, the formations and schemes with this defense is very elite. Jim Knowles was a good defensive coordinator, but they might have got an upgrade with this guy they got from the NFL. They have been bringing even more pressure this season on defense, and that's something Jim Knowles lacked at times. They're only allowing 8 points per game. Not a lot of teams in college football history can say they've done that unless you have to go back all the way to the 1900s. Ohio State is built as a national title team on defense, and defense wins championships. They will absolutely play a factor in winning the national title. That defense is elite. And at number 5, it's simply 10-13 all over again. That's all I gotta say. Last season, they had the loss to Michigan. It was 10-13. Wasn't the best offensive performance, but tell me what happened. They bounced back. They let loose in the playoffs with Jeremiah Smith. And a 10-13 loss to Indiana is not that bad. Indiana's probably the best team in the nation, and they're the only undefeated team left in the nation right now. So yeah, 10-13 is going to really help Ohio State. The last time they lost 10-13, they went on to win the national title in a dominant fashion. They dominated basically everybody in the playoffs, maybe outside of Texas. And I think this is an Ohio State team that can be built to go on another national title run. Ryan Day knows how to make adjustments. He's one of the winningest head coaches in college football history, and he deserves his respect, and a 10-13 loss could definitely motivate them to play even better moving forward. It's hard to go undefeated throughout a whole season, and if Indiana meets Ohio State again, you best bet that Ohio State's going to bring it all and they might win in the rematch. The fourth reason is because of running back Bo Jackson. He is going to be a big difference maker for this team. If someone is able to stop that passing game, Ohio State will need to run the ball. They aren't super elite at running the ball, but they're good at running the ball. And Bo Jackson's only a true freshman running for 1,000 yards. He's really their number one go-to guy at running back, and he needs to get the job done at running back. Because if Bo Jackson gets hurt or fumbles under pressure, I really don't know if Ohio State's going to have a super consistent run game. Because they were struggling to run the ball earlier in the season a little bit. But Bo Jackson gives them speed, athleticism, and talent like none of their other running backs. Last season, Ohio State had 2 elite running backs, and their running game was probably elite, and with a coordinator like Chip Kelly, it helped them out. But they're not as two-dimensional on offense this season, so that's why Bo Jackson needs to play a huge factor if they want to win a national title. The third reason is because of game control. This is a team that they don't even need to score a bunch of points. If they rely on grinding the clock and playing good defense, that could be the way they win games, even against some of the best in the nation. I mean, they almost beat Indiana. There were only 23 combined points scored, a defensive battle. But Ryan Day knows how to control games. He's gotten a lot of practice this season. And I just think Ohio State is built to win games in this era of football. Their game control is very good. Their opponents only hold the ball for around 26 minutes per game. That is 5th in the NCAA. Their drives are very smart and low-key, and they score. Their drives are very smart and low-key, and when you have less drives with a defense like that, it's very hard to beat this Ohio State team. And with the running clock in this era, they could definitely win the national title just playing gritty defense and running the ball. And that's why these other things that I talk about really need to play a factor. Bo Jackson needs to have a good running attack, but they also need the offensive line. But the second reason why this team could win a national title, it's because of Jeremiah Smith and Cardinal Tate. Let's say someone's able to shut down that rushing game. Let's say they're not good enough. You got 2 of the best receivers in the nation. And what if they just do what they did last year? A lot of the games Ohio State won last year, especially in the playoffs, was because of the passing attack, and they let Smith loose. And we also got to remember Jeremiah Smith and Cardinal Tate, they were battling injury. So maybe with more rest, maybe with more prepping, they can go off. We know Ryan Day will want to let it loose, and Jeremiah Smith and Cardinal Tate are super talented. I mean, this is Ohio State wide receiver university. So this is definitely one of the top reasons and the ways that Ohio State could win the national title if Jeremiah Smith and Cardinal Tate are used to their full ability. And at number one, it is because of Ryan Day. I know a lot of people doubt him as a head coach, but the dude has won. He has won over and over again, and he won a national title last season. So this whole narrative of he can't win the big games is gone. He beat Michigan this year. That was his one obstacle, but he overcame that obstacle in a big way. It was a shutdown. Now look, I think the future is bright for Ohio State football. Ryan Day is establishing himself as one of the best coaches in the nation, and we have to give him credit. He lost both of his coordinators, but they bounced back and they look even better this year defensively. I don't know if they're better as a whole on offense because they lost some very good running backs and they lost to Buka, but their statistics are even better on defense and they're very talented on defense. And it just seems like Ryan Day is getting better at coaching and he has figured it out. And he's got the staff around him, and I just think Ryan Day is an excellent head coach and his resume proves it. Kirby Smart went back to back, and it could definitely be possible for Ryan Day to go back to back. But there you have it. Those are the 10 reasons why I think Ohio State could win the national title this season. You guys let me know what you think down in the comments below. And let me remind you guys to like the video and also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And if you guys love college football, then you'll love this channel because we upload a ton of college football content and we basically cover everything on this channel. So definitely consider subscribing and also consider checking out my socials down in the description below. But that is going to do it, guys, and peace out.